It's Ketchup Packets.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean.
I'm Nate.
And this is Ketchup Packets. Today we are here with a movie. We have a movie poll winner from Patreon. It was a squeaker, but by one vote, the winner of the poll is Spotlight. This was our True Stories poll, so all these movies were true stories. Yeah. What do you know about Spotlight, Nate?
So, I have never seen this.
Yeah?
But I am excited about it. This is about the reporting team or the investigative journalists that uncovered the inappropriateness allegations from the Catholic Church.
That's right, yes. The widely known Catholic priest scandals were first sort of blown open by this investigative team writing this story. So that's what this movie is the tale of.
And I remember when this kind of started happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew it. You know?
we were pretty young. But
I mean, you guys, if you watch any of our videos before, you might know our religious affiliations are maybe that of not being very trusting of the church in general.
We are not believers in religious ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and, I tend to think that large, powerful institutions like this generally have something sketchy like this going on.
Yeah.
They like to cover each other's asses and stuff.
They
so
do.
This was not a surprise to me, but it was a little vindicating for me when this started to come out, and I was like, yeah, of course, you know.
I was raised in the Catholic Church, never, victimized or anything like that, just a normal, boring, go to church every Sunday kind of thing. We didn't participate you didn't participate too much beyond that, but then as a teenager, I kind of started rejecting it more vocally, and then it was really talking about this issue more consistently that was able to convince my parents to also stop participating, because I was like, any way you slice it, the money that you put in that basket every week is going to help the lawyers who defend those people. And, they were able to talk about, that it's partitioned into different things, but I was like, yeah, but it's all, money is money, and so, I don't know, we don't have to get too,
No, we don't.
I mean, but this movie, you can't help but.
Right.
So.
And a lot of the discussion during this video is probably going to be along those lines.
Yeah.
So,
if you're not into that, you shouldn't watch this. Yeah, that's what this is going to be like. Yeah, so this movie's from 2015, 10 years ago now, because time is that fast.
Jesus.
And this movie won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So that, speaks to its quality. It's, I like this kind of movie. I've seen this before. Yeah, it was it's one of those, I call it a talkie movie, it's like lots of just people
talking to each other.
People talking, but I used to put this kind of movie on to fall asleep at night and stuff like that. And, not this exact one, because like Zodiac, I used to do that a lot with.
Sure,
even
that's
though
a good talkie
it's
movie.
spooky and there's like murders and stuff in it too. But yeah, it's got
It's mostly people talking.
Yeah, it's talkies. So yeah, that's, I don't know what else to really say to set this one up. It's lots of great performances. It's an interesting true story of an important issue in our world. I don't know, should we dive in?
Yeah, dude, let's
get to it. All right, we have a Patreon where you can vote in movie polls like the one that selected this, and select other movies for us, or you can see full-length reactions or advanced reactions from before they go on YouTube. So yeah, check that out. And if you don't want to, thanks for being here watching with us. We're gonna watch Spotlight. That text hits so hard when you know what this movie's about.
Right, dude.
Divorced with 4 kids. I guess father was helping out.
Helping out?
Ugh.
Any press?
Some guy from the Citizen, but we sent him away. None of the big papers.
So it's out a family that really needs the assistance.
Yep,
so it's
absolutely.
not going to try to make
Easily
waves.
Victimized. They turn to
It's gonna be hard to keep the papers away from the
a leader in the community.
What arrangement?
This movie's going to make you mad, Nate.
I'm already mad.
We are a 4-person investigative team. We report to Ben Bradley Jr., and we keep our work confidential.
That's a cool name for an investigative team.
Yeah.
A piece on a shoddy
They
construction
bring
house
stuff out in the
right now
open,
We're just trolling around for our next story.
It's cool they do it in secret, too, know, so no word gets out about what they're going to blow up.
Yeah.
Once we settle on a project, we can spend a year or more investigating it.
Like, that's a bit long.
What I'm more focused on right now is finding a way to make this paper essential to its readers.
I like to
Deep
think
dive
about
stuff
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, exactly.
That's what you need.
That's my favorite stuff.
I just
It doesn't really happen anymore.
No, I know.
You sit down with Baron go that well?
I couldn't get a read on it.
Yeah, me either.
How about you? Always a barrel of laughs.
I mean, he's got a whole bunch of new stuff to take in. He's just surveying the land.
Yep.
Apparently, this priest molested kids in 6 different parishes over the last 30 years, and the attorney for the victim says Cardinal Law found out about it 15 years ago and did nothing.
Yeah, I think that attorney.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
As I understand it, those documents are under seal.
I don't know what the laws are here, but in Florida, we would go to court.
You want to sue the church?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's a tall order, you know?
Yeah.
This is Boston. It's
The church will
2001.
read that as us suing them. So will everybody else.
Good to know.
Well, I think everyone else would be fine with it if they knew exactly why.
What do you think of the new boss now?
Yeah, I'd like him.
We need to be more discreet than usual, all right? We can't let Cardinal Law get wind of this till we know what we have. Good luck with that.
Until you know what you have.
Exactly.
What tiger tail are they pulling on?
Oh my god.
No idea.
I do know.
No, but it's
yeah,
just
I know, but they'd have no idea.
the dramatic irony of them not understanding what it is that they're tugging on here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the church will fight us very hard on this, which won't go unnoticed by our subscriber base. 53% of them are Catholic.
Well, 53% of them need to know what they're complicit in.
Yeah, see, I think they'll be interested is the response.
Okay.
Let's get them looking at the details of what this conflict is about.
Lake Street will probably contact you about a face-to-face with the Cardinal. It's customary.
So, set up for next week.
I wouldn't mention this.
Good tip.
This is what you need to understand. These are shitty cases. Statute of limitations is only 3 years, and most of these victims don't come forward till long after that.
Okay, well,
we should change that statute.
Yeah.
And most of these kids come from tough neighborhoods. Nobody wants to admit this kind of
You
thing.
don't see this as being like
You're
an
screwed
issue.
on the time limit.
He does, I think,
I
but he
know.
sees himself as powerless to
Even if
change
you
it.
argue the charitable immunity statute caps damages at 20 grand.
For molesting a child?
That is the way the system is set up. Yes, the church.
He's speaking so neutrally about this,
So,
even though you can see
the
on
best
his
shot
face
is
that
to
he's
try
like,
these cases
yeah, it's
in the
messed up,
press.
dude.
Yeah.
My guess is he doesn't have anything on law.
What, you think he's bluffing, or?
It's so
I think
on the nose for the story that the cardinal, like, that's new about everything is named Cardinal Law. You know,
Yeah,
if that if
right.
it weren't the real guy, it would seem like you wrote that a little obvious. Give him a different name.
For real.
I'm actually following up on a column that Eileen McNamara wrote about your suit.
Suits. There are 84 of them. It's not a class action. You should get
in
your
that
facts
office.
straight.
No, you're right, I should.
He's a very busy guy.
Keep all that straight.
Did you know that they tried to bring me up before the Massachusetts Board of Bar Overseers 3 times? They're watching me very closely.
The church?
Yeah, the church.
Write that
To get me
down.
disbarred. In fact, put that away.
And he doesn't even want him writing anything down.
I don't want you.
If we cover this story, everybody will hear about it.
Yeah.
The church thinks in centuries, Mr. Resendez. Do you think your paper has the resources to take that on?
Yeah, I do. But if you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking, do you?
Ooh.
Call me tomorrow. I gotta think
Thank
about
you.
it.
Thanks for the
Yep.
Yeah, you can tell he kind of wants to help, but he's like, "Do you have any idea? I don't."
How hard this is and how
exactly.
much they're already dogging me for
Yeah.
being involved in this at all.
It's a victims organization?
Yeah, it's called SNAP. It's a Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests.
Crummy acronym.
It's a little on the nose. That's like they should go over there.
Track 'em down?
Yeah, no kidding.
How much longer you need to get through the clips?
So this was a thing that, like,
A few days. There's a lot.
was known by people. It's not as though, like, no one in
Yeah.
the world knew about this.
But it
People
was
knew
like-
this was a problem, but it just was seen as something you couldn't do anything about.
It was also like
some kids in Philly.
seen as like lone incidents. And I don't
Exactly.
think it was
Nobody
seen as-
connected,
yeah.
drew the big picture.
Right.
Right.
So the new editor at the Globe is an unmarried man of the Jewish faith who hates baseball.
Oh, so that's how they'll spin it.
Yeah.
I've been reading about this priest, Father Barrett. Said you were involved with that.
Lake Street asked for help. I pitched in.
Victim said Cardinal Law knew about Barrett when he came from Philly. Is that true?
You know I can't talk about the case, Robbie.
Off the record?
Off the record, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, you're
It's related to the law.
you work for a newspaper. There's no off the record with you people.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy Barron or what his agenda is. Frankly, I don't care. I just don't want to see you taking a bullet for him. I think you're away.
Like, literally or figuratively?
I think figuratively.
Yeah.
Ben emailed me. He said we should let it go. What do you want to do? I'm gonna bring Saviano in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta smell that there's, you know, they're like, this is so messed up. I mean, I guess if this is your job, you do messed up stories all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're like, there is gotta be more here.
Well, and the story is the indifference, too, you know, there's people who knew about this and didn't care.
I read that you were an editor once.
The Mississippi Register. Small diocesan newspaper.
Yeah, something about a high-ranking priest really does, like, strike, gives me the heebie-jeebies, too.
Gives me the ick a little bit, and it's just like...
Too much at times.
Before, it just gave me the, I don't really like you very much, but now it's like...
I think you'll find that Boston's still a small town, too, Marty, and...
I would say that by definition, it is not.
But if I can be of any help,
socially,
Marty,
yes.
Don't hesitate to ask.
Minneapolis is like that, too.
Yeah, it totally is. Oh my God, tell me about it.
Flourishes when its great institutions work together.
Thank you. Personally, I'm of the opinion that for a paper to best perform its function, it really needs to stand alone.
Well, that's the wrong answer.
But my offer still stands.
I'm sure it does.
I want you to know that you have the full cooperation of my organization, SNAP.
How many members are in your organization, Phil?
It's like you're actually looking into this? Thank God. Thank you.
No, 10. Karen just moved.
You had a woman in your group?
Of course there was a woman. They don't discriminate, not when it comes to abuse. And this has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
right. Why would they even think for a second?
Imagine how,
kids.
like,
Kids.
angry
Boys and
and, like, you'd be so wanting to get somebody onto this, you know?
I was 11.
I wonder if that's
preyed
the real
upon by
victim.
Father David
Yeah.
Hawley in Worcester.
These are real people, you know?
When you're a poor kid from a poor family, religion counts for a lot. And when a priest pays attention to you, it's a big deal. He asks you to collect the hymnals or take out the trash, you feel special. It's like God asking for help. So maybe it's a little weird when he tells you a dirty joke, but now you got a secret together. So you go along. Then he shows you a porno. And you go along.
You've never seen anything like that at all. You're a kid.
Because you feel trapped, because he has groomed you. How do you say no to God, right?
It's so vile.
So, yeah.
It's important to understand that this is not just physical abuse, it's spiritual abuse too. So you reach for the bottle, or the needle, or if those don't work, you jump off a bridge. That's why we call ourselves survivors.
Yeah, because it's hard to survive that experience.
That's
G-A-U-T-H-E.
It's so, like, it just makes me cringe, like, tense up to even think about it.
You guys gotta understand. This is big. This is not just Boston. This is a whole country. It's a whole world.
It sounds crazy at this time, probably, to say this, you know?
Do you have any proof of that?
He would be the one who knows,
not yet,
though.
But think about
You
it.
know?
I know 13 right here in Boston.
You know 13 priests in Boston who have molested children.
Yeah, why do you keep repeating everything I say?
Because it's we're disbelief and we're making
unbelievable,
sure we understand.
It's all right here.
This would be so frustrating because he's like, you don't believe me.
May I use your bathroom? Yeah, sure, Phil. Come on.
He's so agitated, they have to, you know, and their job is to get an objective thing, so that you can't just take exactly what he's saying, but...
Do a background check on him and follow up with some of the other survivors of his group.
Contract on the sex priest site.
Follow up on what he's saying.
Yep.
Caribbean, what a pain in the ass.
You could be a pain in the ass, Mike.
He might be exaggerating, but if he's not, this is like an enormous story.
I haven't heard back from you. I left you a couple messages.
I'm very busy. I don't have time for calls.
Oh, jeez, I'm sure you don't. Listen.
Just ambush him on the street. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
Yep.
You can sit on the interview, and if you're
It's
not
work.
happy, you could kill
That's what you do.
I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I'm digging around for Spotlight.
Spotlight's on this?
Yeah, we're looking into it, but you gotta help me. You gotta let me talk to some of these victims, please.
This poor guy, because it's like, don't you want to fucking help save the kids, man?
And he seems like he does.
He does, but I mean, it's also his life is like on the
Right,
line,
well,
so to
and he
speak,
thought
you
that
know?
all this work is going to do is create more trouble, but now that he hears that it's Spotlight digging around, now he says, come back tomorrow.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
No,
For this guy.
Thank you.
I've seen this actor on like
This is perfect.
Broad City or Search Party or something. One of those millennial sitcoms.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I took some notes? Would that be all right?
This movie makes me tense. I'm feeling
yeah,
like
dude,
a bunch of tension
I'm
in my
like-
shoulders.
Yeah.
Are you gonna use my name?
It's like,
no.
Not if you don't want me to.
I'm seething, I think.
Yeah,
is what
that's
it
a good
is.
word
Yeah.
for it. Right.
Where'd you live when it first happened?
Over in Hyde Park.
Over by the Stop and Shop.
Yeah. Yeah, you know it?
Yeah, I drove a cab for it.
It's a good interviewer. Just gives him a question to answer instead of saying, "Tell me about the experience,"
Yeah,
and giving it to him to frame what to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, where'd you
How
live?
old were you?
Get him talking.
Yep.
I was 12.
Start with simple questions like,
Right.
you know.
Just after my dad killed himself.
Oh Jesus!
Well, my sister, she saw him over in the Dunkin' Donuts. Tells him about my old man.
These track marks.
He rushed right over.
Yep.
And there was this nun, Sister Barbara, and she ran this group for kids from troubled families.
Where was that?
Do such a good job of like they're not even necessarily like
She's the one who introduced me to
rubbing
Father
your
Shanley.
nose in the specifics of the awfulness.
No,
they
yeah.
just do a really good job of
Long hair.
I'm still so upset.
Well,
dude.
they show you the pattern too.
Yeah.
It's always people
Yeah.
who need extra attention. You know, so they welcome that first.
And I think he could tell I was gay. So he showed me this mobile he had, but with different words. Homosexual, transsexual, bisexual.
Okay, and did you know you were gay at that time, Joe?
Yeah.
This sounds like it's a real story based on the details like that. You know.
Yep.
So he said, you know what'll help is if we play strip poker.
God.
Of course I lost.
Oh my God.
Innocent children. You know, it's like.
Yeah, dude.
Can you tell me specifically what happened?
Specifically, he molested me.
People need to know what actually happened.
Jesus.
Yeah.
We should probably get these two going.
Right. Yeah. You know, okay. Let's get out of public then.
She's thrilled.
Dude, the fact that he's not walking away.
This was
at
like
that point
God
is very
showing up, you know?
cantankerous,
Yeah.
Sure, right.
Very strong.
They want people to
Yeah,
know.
Right. Still doesn't make it easy to talk
Of
about
course,
some
of
of the
course,
specifics, yeah. The acting is so good, you can just see
He
how
offers
much
to
they're
take
just
me
like,
to get ice cream.
don't like remembering this.
He starts patting my leg and slides right up and he grabs my dick. You know, I just froze up. I was fucking petrified. I couldn't move. I didn't know what
Yeah.
to do. I was just a little kid.
You just don't even register that there's,
Yeah.
you know, like, what even do I do? Wait for him to give an instruction, I guess.
Did you see him again after that?
Yeah, every week.
Yeah.
Let's stop there for now.
Sure.
He said
Yeah,
it was a way
it's-
to make me more comfortable.
It's got to be so hard to relive, you know?
So what you have to understand is that this is the first time in my life that someone told me that it was okay to be gay. And it was a priest.
Yeah, and they have the internal fear that people will think they're gross for doing it. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
no, you have no agency in this at all.
Yeah.
To be introduced to sex like that and then to be attracted to men. I'm sorry. I knew I was gonna do this.
Of course you are. There's so much emotion at play. Your body can't,
Yeah.
you
Well,
can't
it's just
contain it all.
What happens?
Joe, did you ever
Church
try
and a
to tell
playground,
me?
yeah, that imagery.
Oh my God.
You can use my name if you want.
Thanks, Patrick.
Don't thank me. Just get these assholes, will you?
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Did Phil ever suggest you do anything about it?
I didn't think it was worth it.
Why not?
He said he could only give me a small settlement, so
Who said that?
the lawyer told me that.
You did go and see a lawyer?
I didn't end up using him, so I didn't think it was important. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to...
Oh.
No, I know, Joe. Was it Eric McLeish?
Yeah, that's it. McLeish. I thought he was very handsome.
Oh, it's not really worth pursuing. I can only get you a small settlement.
Yeah, that's what he told them.
Oh.
Sweeney set a date for the hearing.
Fucking bastard.
I just talked to Phil. He said McLeish dealt with a number of these cases. I'm gonna go to the courthouse tomorrow, see if I can find any cases he settled against the church.
Yeah, a job like this, you're just always working. You
Yep,
go home
absolutely.
from work. You go home to your house and keep working while you do stuff at home.
When you're sleeping, you're dreaming about it. You wake up, start again in the morning.
So Phil told me that you were working at one of the church's treatment centers in Baltimore?
Yes, the Seton Psychiatric Institute. I was there for 5 years, but I spent the next 30 studying abusive priests and their victims.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
That's
this
handy,
is
dude.
a problem that was known for sure.
The church wants us to believe that it's just a few bad apples, but it's a much bigger problem than that.
How
It's a
much?
few lone wolves.
I would classify it as a recognizable psychiatric phenomenon.
Whoa.
That's big.
It's like being like, it's not an exception, man. It's a rule.
Yeah,
Priests, parishes he'd been assigned
it's a
to
type.
work
It's a
with.
category of
Yeah.
priests.
These guys are predators, Loudon.
You think?
He called it a phenomenon.
Why didn't he go public?
He did, but the church made a huge effort to discredit him. Smear campaigns.
Yeah, if there's one doctor writing about it, yeah, he's the problem.
I just need more time.
Any decent institution, when this was put out into the open, would be like, okay, we're going to do something about this. But
Yeah.
instead, they're just smearing everybody, ruining everyone who tries to. That's the damning part.
Exactly.
ultimately.
The
I mean,
cover up is
besides
worse than the
obvious
crime.
things,
People
but
say that. Yeah.
Gagan was pulled from JP. It says he's on sick leave.
Come on, really says that?
Yeah, and once it's recorded too, that's like, oh, even the books that's supposed to tell you where they all were have like not quite like honest language in them.
Oh.
Huh?
Sick leave.
Sick leave. Well,
It's an official designation.
Sick leave.
We need to go talk to McLeish again.
Really? Why?
Huh? There's nothing here. No, there aren't any records.
Oh,
off
shit.
the record settlements.
Mr. McLeish, are you familiar with a priest named Paul Shanley?
Yes, I am familiar with them.
And have you settled cases against Father Shanley?
So good.
Even if I'd been involved in those cases, the settlements would be confidential, and I could be disbarred for acknowledging their existence. Okay?
That sounds like an admission.
Most of these folks, they just want some acknowledgement of what happened. We got
Is that what they want?
Yeah, no.
And that's the best they could hope for.
The best the priest could hope for.
Right.
No, the church promised to take the priests out of circulation.
They didn't.
They pinky promise?
I was down at the courthouse earlier. There aren't any records of any of these settlements.
We dealt directly with the church. We would
Oh.
develop a demand letter and send it to the chancery.
That's
You never
not
filed anything in court.
how that's
It's a
supposed
private
to
mediation.
I mean, private mediation is not illegal. It's
be.
just
Yes.
Occasionally, the church would bring in another defense attorney to help out.
so that makes it just hush money, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a
Pretty
settlement.
Much, yep. Nope.
No, I don't.
Probably
So this
even
was
though
all under the
you
table.
know
There's no
what the
paper
church
trail
could do to
at
your
all.
family if
Exactly. I mean, not said in those terms,
Yeah.
but implied.
Legal ethics aside, Ben, I mean, operating the way McLeish has all but guarantees that the abuse stays under wraps.
It's true, yeah. McLeish gets paid every time, and meanwhile, it keeps happening.
Yep.
The Cardinal said you had a nice visit. We did. He's an extraordinary man. I'm glad you had a chance to chat.
He's an extraordinary man.
Well,
Such
he's a
weird
cardinal.
thing to say about it. I understand. Neil Armstrong, like
Yeah.
he's just a guy with a frock.
With a job.
The Cardinal's in the corner, if you're so inclined.
How could you walk around with that fucking costume on and not feel like an idiot?
Way overdressed?
You said you helped out on Father Barrett as a favor. That was a one-off? How many of these cases you've been involved with? You know I can't answer that, Robbie. It's unethical.
Oh, really?
Okay, stop with that.
That's unethical? What about the systemic problem you're turning a blind eye to?
You want to be on the right side of this.
Yeah, for real. It's coming
This
up.
is the church
It's coming out.
you're talking about.
People don't think they can do it, you know?
You need to start with the celibacy requirement. That was my first major finding. Only 50% of the clergy...
Psychologically, that makes the most sense, you know?
This creates a culture of secrecy that tolerates and even protects pedophiles.
If all sexual
So you
behavior is
believe the church is
transgressive,
aware
then
of
there's
the extent
no
of this,
difference.
Yeah.
And the other
crisis?
priests won't turn them in.
The secretary canonist for the papal nuncio co-authored a report warning pedophile priests were a billion-dollar liability. That was in 1985.
1985?
That's right.
So for so long, just this was being ignored.
Yep.
Cardinal Law initially helped to fund the report, but then he backed out and they shelved it.
Richard,
This would be the moment when I was sitting in
we
this room
think
being
we
like,
have
this
13
was the
priests
right
in Boston
case to
that
be.
fit
This is
pattern
goes
with
back
Yeah.
forever.
a very big story. Does that sound right to you?
The estimate of 13
Yeah.
priests sounds right, yeah.
Sounds low to me. My estimate suggests 6% act out sexually with minors.
Jesus.
6% of what?
All
6% of all
priests.
priests.
About 1,500. 1% is 15. 6% is 90.
Is that possible?
From a metric standpoint, yes. That would certainly be in line with my findings.
That's mind-boggling.
The slow pull away of the camera during that whole scene. Yeah, just sitting there to think about that.
90 fucking priests. If there were 90 of these bastards, people would know.
Maybe they do.
Right.
No one said a thing.
Seems like some people do know.
Right.
But we need something more than a metric from some hippie
Yeah.
ex-priest who's shacking up with a nun.
Okay, so
That's a good point. Yeah, you gotta.
We'll get more
But
priests. Then,
if
then
that's
we could check them against the directories. That's a
exactly,
shitload of
look at
victims.
those designations.
We'll get there.
Who's moving every 2
Yeah.
and 3 years and has those designations?
Directories. We've been using them to confirm bad priests. What if we do it the other way around?
Using directors to identify bad priests.
Yeah, exactly. We search by designation. You know, we
That's
look
right. Sorry if that was a spoiler to say this is what I thought of to do. You know, I don't remember the structure of this movie.
That's it.
That's it.
Holy shit.
Robbie,
That's 3 off-site to estimate. That's incredible.
Robbie,
how many?
87.
87 priests in Boston.
That they have reason to believe anyway, based on how often they move around.
I want to talk to him.
Okay.
Can you print it?
That's still not proof, but it is a funny, like, correlation.
It's enough to ask questions, why are these guys moving around so much?
We have reason to believe that there are allegations against as many as 87 priests in Boston.
I can't talk to you about that.
Does that number sound right to you?
You gotta be kidding me. I just told you I don't have time for this crap right now.
This is not crap.
Robbie, you know I can't tell you that. You're going to give me the names.
We are going
and the names of their
to
victims.
drag you into the back of my car, go into the middle of an empty field, and you are going to
We've got
talk to
two
us.
stories here. We've got a story about degenerate clergy, and we've got a story about a bunch of lawyers turning child abuse into a cottage industry. Which story do you want us to write? Because we're writing one of them.
Yeah, that's the move. Like, you profit a lot off of this, too.
Yeah, name them so hard.
A list of names. I had 20 priests in Boston alone, but I couldn't go after them without the press. So I sent you guys a list of names, and you buried it.
Whoa.
Well, it's all circular, isn't it?
Check your goddamn clips, Robbie.
Yeah.
We need to focus on the institution, not the individual priests.
Yes, he's right. He is right.
Show me the church manipulated the system so
Yeah.
that these guys wouldn't have to face charges. Show me they put those same priests back into parishes time and time again. Show me this was systemic.
Why did they do it that way? Why do they keep feeding them new victims?
Sounds like we're going after
They're
law.
just they're evil.
Yeah, once it's the institution, like
Right.
not only allowing it, but like making it happen.
Giving them opportunities
Yeah,
again
it's
and
like,
again.
how do you even
Start reaching out.
justify that?
Hi. I'm Sasha Pfeiffer from the Boston Globe.
Yeah, what do you want?
I'd like to speak with Thomas Kennedy.
He doesn't live here anymore.
Do you know where he lives? Sir, I'd just like to ask a few...
Being a reporter on people's front step probably doesn't get a lot of good reactions.
Right.
The bishop came over the house. He said nothing like this had ever happened before, and they asked us not to press charges.
And what did your mother do?
My mother? She put out freaking cookies.
Yeah,
the
right.
bishop
Yep.
came over. Yeah, they see the
That's
robes. They
so
see,
common that the families will just, because that means they
Yeah.
get ostracized. You know,
Right, they don't want to go against the
But
church.
not just the church. From my friends. From the other
It's your community.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Ronald Paquin.
Yes?
I'm Sasha Pfeiffer from the Boston Globe.
Okay.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Go ahead.
She's like, oh, now she's all flustered that
Spoke
she
to
actually
several
found
men
him.
who knew you when they were boys at St. John the Baptist in Haverhill. They told us you molested them. Is that true?
Sure, I fooled around, but I never felt gratified myself.
I'm sorry?
Right.
I never got any pleasure from it. That's important to understand.
Oh,
Right.
of course.
This is such an interesting interview.
Can you tell me where?
Because they're
and how
stunted,
you fooled
you
around
know?
these boys? Who are you? Sasha Pfeiffer from the Globe.
Get inside, Ron.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Who are you?
I'm his sister, and I don't want you coming back here.
Miss Paquin.
Well, I think you got
Even-
something juicy anyway.
Yeah.
He had this really odd rationalization for it, like it was totally normal to fool around with little boys. I'd really like to go
Because
back.
he
I
might be
think
from
you
a culture where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
Everyone
not yet.
seemed totally cool with
I want
it.
you to stay focused.
I mean,
on
it's
the
an open secret
Right,
among
yeah.
them, you know?
3 years ago, I get a call from an ex-priest, Anthony Benzovich. He was at Blessed Sacrament back in '62, and he saw Gagan, all right? Tells the bishop about it. The bishop threatens to reassign him to South America. Yeah, all right. Fast forward 35 years, Benzovich reads that Gagan has been charged with molesting hundreds of kids, all right? So he feels guilty.
Yeah, we saw this decades ago.
When I call Benzovich in to give a deposition, he comes in with a lawyer. Can't remember anything. He's useless. So I go back to work, I forget about it, whatever. Until about a year ago, I find an article about a priest who warned church officials about Gagan.
Benzovich went to the press?
Yeah. So I file a motion to depose Benzovich a second time. He files a motion opposing my motion. And that's when I have him.
So frustrating.
Have him out.
Okay,
Rogers
but...
opposes my motion. So I have to make an argument as to why I'm allowed to depose Father Benzovich a second time, okay? But this time, I'm allowed to attach exhibits.
The sealed documents?
Yes, the same documents that your paper is currently suing for.
You're shitting me.
They're attached to a different motion.
I pull out the 14 most damning docs and I attach them to my motion. And they prove everything. Everything. About the church, about the bishops, about
And
law.
he just has to sit on this whole time until now.
And so I could just walk into that courthouse right now and get those documents?
No, you cannot.
But you just said they're public.
I know I did. But this is Boston. And the church does not want them to be found. So, they are not there. I'm not crazy. I'm not paranoid. I'm experienced. Check the docket. You'll see.
Go look for them.
Yeah,
They
dude.
control everything.
Whoa.
Everything.
Because who gets arrested for missing papers? Nobody.
Yep,
They're just
exactly.
missing.
Yeah. They're gone.
What did he say?
Garabedian gave me a tip. Some of the sealed docs are already public.
So we can get them?
Yeah, but they're not there. Already talked to Albano. He said all we have to do is file a motion and Sweeney will order Mitch to refile the docs.
And you think these documents are...
He said these 14 docs are all...
Oh, okay, yeah, you can order them refiled, I guess. Yeah, because they will be copies. Remember that shit?
I sure do. You've got mail.
That little AIM yellow guy?
Yeah, of course.
Setting your away message to good emo lyrics.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
They're saying it's a prop plane.
Suddenly the
That's
story
not a
is
prop plane.
on the back burner.
Everything else stops.
Understood.
Why is Mike going to Florida?
Flight school to where they learn to fly.
Yeah, suddenly everybody is off of whatever they were doing and working on this.
Yeah.
You asked a lot of people to relive some very painful experiences.
Phil, you know why we
and
were
you just
taken off of
disappeared.
this story.
It's been 6 weeks since 9/11.
I really
Yeah.
And we're gonna get back to it.
When?
Yeah, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell this story. We're gonna tell it right. We just need a little more time. That's all we're asking for.
He's been hearing that a lot, you know?
You're gonna do what you want anyway. You always do.
Phil. Phil!
I don't blame him for being very disillusioned
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
anything will ever happen.
We're closed. Come on, let me in. 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, we're closed.
Come on.
God damn it.
He's just waiting there. Come on, you don't even, like, you can't go sleep on a bed?
No.
Maybe he did. He came
That
back
could be the
earlier, yeah.
first thing that the first people there are going to be like, you know, people from the church, like...
This is the gagging case?
That's right.
Those records are sealed.
No, that's a public motion. Those records are public. Look, I work for the Globe.
Good for you.
There must be judges that work on this kind of thing.
6th floor.
Oh, but you got to get somebody to watch this place to make sure that no one else is...
Right, that guy turned you away even though you're allowed to get that.
I'm having some trouble accessing some public records down in the records room. I was wondering if I could have a word with you.
All right.
Judge is probably like, Jesus, now what? So much on their plate already?
Yeah.
These
That is kind
exhibits
of
you're after,
part of what
Mr.
they're supposed to
Resendez.
do, though, you know? It's like...
Very sensitive
Yeah.
records.
Where's the editorial responsibility in publishing records of this nature?
Well, where's the editorial responsibility in not publishing them?
Boom.
So he's like, oh, yeah.
That's the right answer.
You need to make copies.
I'm going to the copy room.
We closed at 4.
This place is set up to be difficult to access.
$83. Use yours.
Yeah, I need copies of these. So I was here first thing in the morning.
You send me upstairs all day to wait for a judge.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Our family is rooted in the church. Even in the midst of our agony over the 7 boys in our family who have been violated. 7, Robbie. 7 boys.
And the family still has allegiance to the church.
Suggested we keep silent. But since Father Gagan is still in his parish, she sent it to law, and law did shit. Here's another one to law, same year. Father Gagan has a history of homosexual involvement with young boys.
Ooh.
I understand his recent
It's a
departure
smoking
from
gun. He's like holding it in his hand.
All these letters that the cardinal received.
Father Gagan should not be reduced to just weekend work while receiving some kind of therapy.
Yeah, or maybe sent to prison for crimes.
Absolutely.
We got law. This is it.
No, this is law covering for 1 priest. There's another 90 out there.
We'll print that story when we get it, but we got to go with this now.
No, I'm not going to rush the story.
No, yeah, you can't do that.
You gotta get it right. You can't miss when you shoot at the king.
Barron told us to get law. This is law.
Barron told us to get the system.
Yep.
We need the full scope.
You need
That's
everybody.
The only thing
You
that
can't let them throw out one guy.
They knew, and they let it happen to kids. Okay? It could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been any of us.
Oh man, he's making it personal.
We gotta nail these
He hasn't gotten a lot of
scumbags.
sleep in the last
show people that nobody
36
can
hours.
get away with this.
Well, now
Not
he's
a
got such
priest
proof
or
in
a
his hand, and
cardinal
he's like,
or a
what do you mean
freaking
we're
pope.
still not ready?
You finished?
This is bullshit.
Yeah, he can't. He's just like, dude, we could do something or nothing or something much better.
Yeah.
But like, the something is better than the nothing.
Exactly, yeah, well, they're still working.
I think Robbie's wrong.
You know, you care about the story, Mike. We all do.
Yeah, he does.
I love his mannerisms in this movie. It's,
Mhm.
it's based on, it's a real guy, right?
I stopped going
it's
to church with my Nana. It was too hard. I'd be sitting there and I would start thinking about Joe Crowley or someone else, and I just got so angry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell her why?
She goes to church 3 times a week, Mike.
Why didn't you tell her why?
Well, and that is the insidious thing with it, is that so many good people make it so core to their identity that it, becomes that you're taking that away from them if you tell them the truth about it,
I read those letters, and something just...
Yeah, that would be very infuriating.
White
to
hot
read those,
rage, yeah.
You here for the cardinal?
Oh, no. I wouldn't presume to speak for the cardinal. No.
Oh, no, of course not, no.
You care about this place. Yeah. It's why you do what you do. It's who you are. People need the church.
Now you're speaking for the cardinal.
More than ever right now.
No, I'm not speaking for him.
This is just idle conversation.
The cardinal, he might not be perfect. But we can't throw out all the good he's doing over a few bad apples.
Oh, yeah, what's that whole expression? A few bad apples spoil the whole bunch.
Mighty Baron is just trying to make his mark. He's gonna be here for a couple of years and he's gonna move on. Just like he did in New York and Miami.
Why does that matter?
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Good night, Robbie. Brian?
I would be so... I'm like, got like prickles in the back of my neck right now.
How could you be fine with arguing on that side of this?
Sweeney ruled in our favor. She ruled to unseal the documents.
That was not expected, was it?
We can't run this one big.
Why wouldn't we? It's a major First Amendment victory. Not to mention, you get an Irish Catholic judge ruling against the church. That's a hell of a precedent.
Yeah, there you go. That's a story. People will notice.
You're gonna have to step out, Peter.
I'm not stepping out.
Yeah, they're not even telling. Yeah, they keep it really tight lid on it.
Yeah, because they don't want any, nothing. The moment that the wrong people are like aware how far they're digging and like any specifics about what they actually have, it's over.
Makes it harder.
Yeah.
When did you,
A couple of weeks ago.
couple of weeks?
They don't even tell him. Yeah. They got those a couple weeks ago.
Look, I'm close to stories on 70 priests. We nailed that along with those letters. This is proof that this is bigger than law.
Mm-hmm.
This is the whole system.
If we're not buttoned up on every single one of them, the church will pick us apart.
Yeah, you can't really run anything you're not certain about.
Tell Canellas to bury the ruling in Metro. Got 6 weeks.
Now you got a ticking clock.
Look who I found outside.
Karen, can you give us a minute?
Sure.
Well, she can tell it's adversarial.
We're gonna cover up stories on 70 priests, but the boss isn't gonna run it unless I get confirmation from your side.
Are you out of your mind?
No, are you? Look at
Yeah.
what this is. Like, everyone's so concerned about the rules of it. I mean, I don't know.
No, they're worried about their own
Yeah.
reputations, but that's still not acceptable.
I was doing my job.
Yeah,
Oh,
we can,
really?
we can spin it that way. We can.
You and everyone else.
And meanwhile, what goes on? Yeah.
Get out of my house.
You have any idea, man? We know that you did this already.
Yeah,
we
but
can make you the enemy in this story, or you can be the redemption, like a
the
redemption.
paper can only say what they know is true, though. You know, not what they think.
Come to my home and lay this shit on me?
You did. You laid it on you.
Give me the list.
He has to be confronted with his own complicity. It's got to be hard to process,
Yep.
but he's out here now.
Yep.
You see everybody in a list like that, it's really got to drive it home.
Yeah.
Look at all these names. Two big circles. Everyone.
I would love to see their faces when they read this thing, man.
You know, Sunday is the Feast of the Epiphany.
Seems appropriate. Thanks for calling. Yeah, I just had a few questions, if you have a minute. What? She said, quote, "We don't even want to know what the questions are," end quote.
She really said that.
Yeah.
Well, that ought to do it.
Yeah, there we go.
We also put the spotlight tip line at the end of the story so people can call in. Goes directly to our office.
Matt and I can go in the morning in case we get any calls.
After we ran the Porter case, the message centers were tied up for weeks. It's a real problem.
There were picketers, too. Lots of them.
Yeah, people picketed the newspaper for daring to smear the church.
McLeish sent us a letter on 20 priests years ago. Sasha found the clip.
December 93.
We buried the story in Metro. No follow.
You were Metro.
I just taken over. I don't remember it at all. But yeah.
Everybody
It's like
was
feeling
just
guilt about-
complicit.
yeah.
Yeah. Everybody just.
But his complicity was just like, okay, yep, that story, run it. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
instead of
He's
just
getting
being
his
like,
footing in a new job. Yeah.
I can't speak to what happened before I arrived, but all of you have done some very good reporting here. Reporting that I believe is going to have an immediate and considerable impact on our readers.
And like the fucking world.
Yeah.
This kind of story is why we do this. Having said that, Cardinal Law and the Catholic community are going to have a very strong response to this.
This is what changed the conversation to this is a problem with the structure of this institution.
Yeah.
Gotta show it to your nana.
Sasha, can I have a drink of water?
Yeah.
Something they've put so much of their trust in. It's a betrayal. That's what it is. Betrayal is a psychological injury, you know?
Well, and I think what a lot of people are going to find is like, oh, you know, my grandpa's been a member of the Catholic Church for years, and it's like, oh, well, actually, he's got a story too that he has never told anybody, you know?
Spotlight. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Can I get your name, please?
It begins. This is their job now.
Yeah.
No picketers.
Yeah. Probably still at church.
Phone hasn't rung once. Marty sent two of mine down to Spotlight. Great article, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
So she's not getting complaint calls like the Porter case.
Okay. Yep. Send phone. Spotlight, can I help? Phones have been ringing all morning. That's right.
Oh, shit.
No complaints, lots of tips.
Spotlight.
I remember this ending being very powerful. Oh, he resigned.
Oh, he resigned. Yeah.
Reassigned to Rome. this is what I remember. That's just the most powerful way to do it, right?
Oh my fucking god, dude.
Spotlight. There's a word that we use for some of the content we watch on this channel. Harrowing. I think that falls into our harrowing movies category. What did you think of that movie, Nate?
Oh man, it's just like, I think I made myself perfectly clear that like this shit is it's the stuff that like makes me the most viscerally upset.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
it's the harming of innocence and the betrayal of the people who you aren't directly harming that are putting their trust into the institution as like a beacon of good and as the thing that they can rely on in their life in their community. To find out that that's actually insidious and vile is such a betrayal for everyone, you know, for all the people that you're offering yourself to. I don't know.
Right, as like, you know, like the point of the church should always be like
well, that's what it claims to be.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Connection
like,
with the force of good in the universe.
And like there is a horrifying like inevitability that exists within any system where, you know, like 99.99% of, well, I won't put statistic on it necessarily, but you know, like Boy Scout like leaders and stuff,
exactly,
good people,
right? And the majority of all people in any category are good people.
Right. You know, teachers.
Yes.
We're talking, you know, like little league coaches. Like there's certain parts, there's certain jobs where it is easy for a predator to like use it as you're an authority figure, you have access, you know, all those things are like there. But like there's something about and like in those cases, I do think that until further notice, it is not necessarily like a systematic, like the tree is rotting from the root kind of thing. It's like just bad branches, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or like
there are opportunities that bad people will see and seek out.
Always take advantage of, right. But like just the fact that this institution that it literally lords over everyone else and tries to tell, like, you know, it has this attitude of its moral superiority over anyone, and then feeling completely justified in allowing this to continue.
And there's not only, I mean, there's all that, and there's, I think, the key piece of the institutional structure that the researcher character, Richard Jenkins, I believe, was that voice, but he never appeared on screen, but was talking about the celibacy requirement in the Catholic Church, and that being at the crux of this particular problem, because the celibacy requirement for Catholic priests includes self-gratification. It is not allowed, and neither is any sexual behavior of any kind with a partner. So that is a physiological human need. It's like telling them that they need to be guilty for eating. You know, they're not going to be able to avoid doing that in some way or another because everybody has to. And so then it creates a situation where all sexual behavior is transgressive. And so therefore, you know, some of them succeed in celibacy. Maybe, you know, like I guess it is technically possible to not do it, but it's extremely, you know, there are things besides your reasoning processes that are driving that behavior. Right. You know, it's not just
literally why humanity continues.
Exactly. So, I mean, just the way he laid it out there, that framing all sexual behavior as transgressive then makes an environment where the pedophiles are not, you know, like there's just this open secret thing about don't talk about anyone else's sexual behavior, so they're able to get away with secrets more. And then also, he talked about them being stunted. It creates a situation where because they're not allowed to engage in that behavior or have that normal development of growing as a human being, children are the closest thing they have to sexual peers. It's people who are very inexperienced that know they think about this but don't really understand it. And so then when they're wanting to act that behavior out, that's the kind of person they find as someone who's on the same level as them. You know, it's just like all this stuff about that that piece of it exacerbates this problem so much. It creates an environment that I think would turn some edge cases into pedophiles when they wouldn't otherwise be them.
Yeah, I
just
think
because of
that's
the incentives.
Completely true. And you know, there are the people who are stunted, and there's also the people who are just like, you know, just deviant. And
right,
like,
and those people find their way in too. Yeah.
Right, and it's like when all sex is forbidden, then forbidden sex is less.
It's just the
seems
same.
Like,
exactly. Yeah, right.
So yeah, I mean, but that's just not an excuse. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not trying to excuse it in any way, but
I know, but it's
more
like they
explains
are.
why the institution is culpable for, because they don't want to have to change that rule or address that rule. You know,
There's literally a South Park episode about this. You don't have to get into that.
That's right. That rule was put in place, I think, for property inheritance reasons and stuff. Like, so that when a priest died, their property would go to the church instead.
Pretty sure all that shit isn't in the Bible.
No,
you can easily just go.
It's just a structure.
Switch it up, and like, but the work that these like investigative reporters do is like so incredible. I like whenever I hear a story, like, you know, whenever something huge breaks like this, and it's just like the amount of time and effort and like
the work of sitting down to think about who do I go talk to, you know, just like having to build that all from nothing,
and then to going and talking to them and getting the story,
them to tell you what you need to hear. So to change gears a little bit from the actual like meat and the content of it, and to talk about the movie from sort of a movie standpoint, I really like the way that this was done, as I think this is the best way to make a movie about this subject matter without it being exploitative in any way. Because if you're trying to make a movie that's like the story of priest abuse happening, you're inevitably going to be depicting those scenes, and then that gets into like, is this, you know, like what, you know, I think that it's just a lot easier to make something that's you know, not, especially because it's real events on such a large scale. There's a deftness that's required, and I think framing it as the people writing the story of it and hearing the story told to them, as opposed to like depicting the events in a movie, is definitely the best way to handle a movie about this subject. And it just, I don't know, it communicates it so well without being exploitative.
I'm having a hard time remembering like any of the names of the characters, and like that's not unusual for me, but I think there's something to be said for like, there wasn't really a whole lot of tension between the team. There was no like side story where it's like, oh, and then these two start an affair because they get so close in their work relationship, or like the boss is standing in their way from like, there was none of that. Like,
they were
extra
vehicles to tell us this larger narrative.
It was just like, we're all on the same page. There was like the one time Mark Ruffalo was like, we need to run this now, and they were like, no, we need to wait, and then that got immediately resolved.
The character stuff wasn't totally absent. They all did sort of grow going through it and stuff like that, but it wasn't about them. It was about the larger thing. But that was balanced very well
too, and the acting was great.
Yeah,
too.
this was one Best Picture, like I said. It was, you know.
But I just appreciate that there was no melodrama. It was just like, this is dramatic enough already.
Yeah,
there's enough to be told here that we don't need to fluff it up with any extra like bullshit.
And then they cap it off with 4 screens of 3-column lists of cities where major scandals have been uncovered.
Is insane.
Any other organization would be just forcibly shut down by the United Nations. You know, like,
for real.
I don't understand why. I mean, it's been severely, their reputation has been very hindered by all this, as it deserves to be, but they still persist, and as Stanley Tucci's character said, they think in centuries, you know, and that's definitely true, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate.
It is. I guess that wraps it up for Spotlight. What do you think?
That was really fucking good. I enjoyed that.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us react to that terribleness in a great movie. Thanks for joining us. Watch our other videos. Click on things. I'm Sean.
I'm Nate.
This is Ketchup Packets. Goodbye.
Ketchup Packets.